We begin with the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, who says school principals and teachers on duty will be held accountable for incidents of student unrest. Magoha says the government is concerned about a spate of such incidents that have led to the loss of millions of shillings worth of infrastructure. Now, the Kenya National Union of Teachers is recommending the phasing out of boarding schools as a measure to deal with the cases of unrest in schools. School dormitories, classes, buildings, and several structures have been razed down across several public secondary schools in ugly incidents witnessed simultaneously in the recent weeks. And now, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoha, says teachers have the responsibility to prevent such from happening.
From now on, we shall ask the teacher, when the building was getting burnt, where were you? Who was on duty? Who was the prefect on duty at that time? We have systems that must work.
That students are consuming drugs, Magoha says, is no secret, reiterating his earlier remarks of the law taking its course.
And when we catch the culprit who thinks he has the powers to ban a building that has been constructed by public money, then Banangao, you know what to do. Because from 8 years, for those who didn't know, from 8 years, you are culpable to criminal prosecution.
Owing to the rising incidents of student unrest, the Kenya National Union of Teachers believes the solution is not to reintroduce corporal punishment, but to progressively shut down all boarding schools.
How do you get a teenager who has been free out there? Control of children requires parenting, and that is why we are suggesting very strongly Kenya has matured to eliminate the boarding school system so that children can go home and come back.
To curb the unrest in schools, the National Assembly Committee on Education recommends regular tests on students suspected of drug abuse, progressive reduction of boarding schools to allow parents to have more time with their children, timely release of government capitation to help facilitate essential services, and strengthening of guidance and counseling departments in schools. At least 25 public secondary schools were razed down in the month of January, where property worth millions was destroyed.